the party master on Up and Go, The Bridge, 99 FM.
Good morning to you, everyone. How you all doing today? We're almost at the end of November 2021. Yep. And we say good morning to you and welcome to Up and Go. We're here on The Bridge, 99 FM to the world. Talking about the world, we rise this morning with not very good news as Omicron is causing some bothers all around the world. It's popping up in several countries this morning who are already implementing bans on travel. I'll tell you more about that. But we say good morning to our team in the building and to all of our listeners here in Jamaica and around the world. Welcome to Up and Go. Monday morning, start of a new week. And we're going to take care of you until all the way down to 11 o'clock this morning. Time now for headlines across the bridge. And guns under fire. Holness wishes offenders could get death penalty for illegal possession of firearm. Seeking to staunch bloodshed with more than 1,300 people killed this year, Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Sunday promised a vigorous legislative push to tackle the country's galloping murder rate. The thrust follows last Thursday's blocking of the extension of states of emergency in 7 police divisions, delivering a blow to the Holness administration, which has floated the measure as a crime-fighting tool for as long as 7 years. Holness has signaled that the government will bring the Enhanced Security Measures Bill, the Bail Act and the Firearms Act to Parliament for reform early next year, indicating that at the heart of the country's crime problem is the ease of access to unlicensed guns. Those bits of legislation are expected to restrict this. Singling out the Firearms Act, the Prime Minister said that it does not take into account the illegal acquisition of guns. The problem that we have in Jamaica is the inflow, a mass unregulated inflow of unregistered light arms and guns from post-war countries and from our big trading partners to the north, said Holness, the Jamaica Labour Party leader at the organization's 78th annual conference at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston yesterday. Speaking hyperbolically, the Prime Minister said, were it up to him, the death penalty would have been reinstated to deal with those found to be in possession of an illegal firearm. For this, I would make an exception. Anyone found with an illegal gun should start with a death penalty, he said to resounding applause. And Jamaica continues to shine brightly among the countries of the world, and all because of the talent, skill, prowess, and reputation of many Jamaicans who have impacted and inspired people globally. Dr. Dawkins Brown is one such person. He helps people around the world refine their business ideas, successfully launch and grow a profitable, sustainable business. As a business strategist, entrepreneur, accountant, and financial consultant, Brown, who was recently named among 30 global influencers in the New York City Journal, applies his experience to coach clients towards personal empowerment and wealth creation. He is the founder and executive chairman of Dog & Global, an integrated multidisciplinary professional service firm in the Caribbean that provides several services including audit, accounting, tax, and other advisory services. In addition, Brown recently launched a dedicated business coaching division within the firm to help business owners, particularly first-timers, navigate the difficult time between concept, launch, and business stability. We go now into the region. Barbados continues to make it easy to do business. The government has taken another significant step on the ease of doing business path with the go live of KIPO's corporate registry. Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley said it was a necessary step in the relay to achieve success and make Barbadian service delivery within the business sector world-class. Made the comments on Friday as she addressed the launch of the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office's KIPO digitization project, which was held at its Baobab Tower, Warren's St. Michael office. The Prime Minister told her in-person and online audience, and never should we continue to rest on our laurels. Be proud of what we have achieved, but be conscious that there is always somebody or something on our heels that requires us to be ever vigilant, because this is a competitive world. And if we're going to be the best in class, then we need to make sure that we are vigilant, creative, and disciplined, but above all else, conscious of the people whom we serve. And a number of European countries have reported their first cases of Omicron COVID-19 variant as governments in the region race to understand the scale of its spread. The UK has identified 9 cases so far, with 6 of those reported in Scotland on Monday. The Netherlands and Portugal have each discovered 13 infections, with all of Portugal's cases being found among one Lisbon-based football team. The 13 Dutch cases were found after passengers arriving from South Africa were tested at Amsterdam's airport, that's the Schiphol airport, on Friday. Germany has found 3 cases, while Italy, the Czech Republic, and Belgium each have at least 1. On Monday, Austria joined the list of nations declaring its first identified case. The true number of Omicron cases across the continent is likely to be far higher, with sequencing being undertaken to identify which new infections have been caused by the new strain. And at 15 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock, those are our headlines across the bridge. Mr. Mark Golding, the president of the People's National Party, is going to be my guest at 8 o'clock this morning. By the way, I don't know how many of you have the same experience, but year in, year out, when it's the People's National Party's conference, I get calls from friends of mine in the People's National Party. Richard, where's your conference? I keep telling them the same answer. No, I'm not at conference, but I'll be watching the live session that will come on television. Yesterday, I got several calls from some friends of mine in the JLP. Yo, Richard, where's your conference? No, I'm not at conference, bro. Or friends. No, I'm not at conference. I'm actually waiting to watch the live presentation, and that is exactly what I did. And there are a number of things that I picked up. You heard the speech by Robert Montague, for instance, when Robert spoke about the puppies, the litter of puppies, and person told someone, "Hey, listen, man, these puppies are all PNP puppies." And a week later, they made a check on Bobby Montague. In fact, on the person to see what's up with the puppies, and the owner of the litter said they're now all JLP puppies here. So everybody's like, "What the hell is going on here?" And he says, "Well, their eyes are now open." So I guess they've seen the light. Wow. Interestingly, though, Bobby actually said publicly at the podium that he thinks the Prime Minister did the right thing to take CAP from his ministry and put it over in Ministry of Finance. He has no problems with it. He says it's actually good for the country. That is what Bobby said. Yeah. But one of the things that was mentioned at the conference was the Prime Minister, who was speaking hyperbolically when he says that if it was left up to him, he would start anyone found with an illegal gun would get the death penalty. Now, I don't think the audience picked up that the Prime Minister was speaking hyperbolically, so they started applauding him. And then he said, "Listen, I'm speaking hyperbolically, so it's really an exaggerated thought, if you get my drift." So now it's coming out in the media, and of course, many people would have been quite shocked initially at hearing him say that. But he did say that he was speaking hyperbolically, even if members of his audience didn't quite get that point. 23 now before the hour of 8 o'clock. We have more to talk about this morning on that conference and many other things on the political horizon. It's time now for the proverb of the day. And we're going to play a proverb. You'll hear it. We ask you to give us a call and just test your knowledge. Just test your ability to interpret the proverb that you will hear. So listen first to the proverb and then call us on 876-676-4996 and try to offer your own explanation or meaning to the proverb that you'll hear. Let's hear first of all this recording of the proverb of the day.
Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper.
Say that again.
Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper.
Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. That is what it is. That's the proverb. First of all, what do you think is the translation? And then, do you know the meaning or the explanation? 876-676-4996. Let's find out from one of our listeners. Good morning and welcome to Up and Go. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I was trying to listen deeper, but I couldn't hear. Could you repeat what it said? Dog with too much massa?
Yeah, dog with too much massa, sleep without supper.
Oh, yeah, man. When dog with too much, dog with too much
Massa. Yeah, massa.
Sleep without supper.
Yeah, that's right. Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. By the way, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Sharuth. I'm calling from St. James.
St. James. And you said your name is Cheryl?
Sharuth.
Oh, Sharuth. All right. Thank you for joining us, Sharuth. Hope it's all right for you down there inside of Montego Bay this morning. Now, what is your interpretation of that particular proverb?
Boy.
Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. Sorry?
I have an interesting twist to this one.
Really? Let me hear it.
Boy, it's, for example, like a man with too much wife, he won't get a serious one because he have too much woman. Nobody not going to take him serious.
Just see you go.
So he's not going to end up married and happy in the long run.
That's
he have too much woman, man, too much master. Nobody's relying on him and just him, you know?
That's where you went? You did say it's an interesting twist. I tell you what, keep listening. I'm going to give the official explanation right after we take another call. Thank you for participating. Keep listening. Much love. That's where she went. Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. Good morning, you're on the air. Welcome to Up and Go. Who's calling? Hello, morning. La-di-da-di-da. I didn't say duh, like the Prime Minister did in his speech at conference yesterday. Dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. What the translation is, first of all, let me tell you, dog with too many masters will go hungry. That is the official translation. But what we're trying to get from our listeners this morning is the meaning or the explanation. That is what I'm trying to get to. 10 now before the hour of 8 o'clock. Let's take one more call and see what this person thinks. Good morning. Welcome to Up and Go. You're on the air. How are you doing?
Good morning, Richard B. All right, though.
Okay, who's calling? I'm good, thank you.
Talis.
Talis Wagwan. Everything good?
Yeah, yes.
I wonder if I'm going to hear from Talis at 8:30 for the Secret Sound game as well, because we know you've been trying.
I was trying the last time and never got through.
Well, try again today. It might be your lucky day, Talis. How was your weekend, by the way? Good?
It was great.
All right, glad to hear that. So the proverb for today, dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. That should not be without. It should be without. Let me get it right. So the translation, Talis, is dog with too many masters will go hungry. What do you think is the meaning or the explanation of that proverb?
I think because he has so much places to go, it feels as if wherever I go, he'll get something to eat. So when he comes home, the other dogs that are there eat his supper, so he has none to get.
Nothing left. You're thinking. You're really, really thinking. The official explanation, let me share it with you now. Use your own mind and abilities to make decisions. Don't be influenced by the opinions of others. That is the official meaning and explanation. Thank you, Talis. Have a great day. Every time. All right, so when you hear dog with too much massa, sleep without supper. The translation, dog with too many masters will go hungry. The meaning or the explanation, use your own mind and abilities to make decisions. Don't be influenced by the opinions of others. That's something that I think a lot of people should actually penetrate today. Think about it seriously. And we're getting messages out of New York City as we speak, as a matter of fact. I have a guest lined up at this time, and he is, in fact, the president of the People's National Party, Mr. Mark Golding, who is our guest at this time. Good morning, Mr. Golding. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Richie B. Morning to you and your listeners.
All right. Thank you for joining us at this early hour. I have my own questions that I wanted to ask you, but here's a message coming in as we start this interview, Mark, from New York. This person says, I'm going to be running late for work today because I want to hear what Mark Golding has to say. And they go on to say, because his constituency leads the nation in murders and yet he's fighting against the SOE. How would you want to respond to a comment like that from a listener of ours?
Well, first of all, it's untrue. The constituency does not lead the nation in murders. There are other constituencies which have a higher murder rate than South St. Andrew, certainly in recent times and for this year. That's not to say that we don't have a problem with violent crime. We do.
Yes.
But the point really is Jamaica is a constitutional democracy governed by the rule of law, and we have a constitution that governs the entirety of our legal affairs. And we have to abide by that constitution. And the use of a state of emergency as a crime-fighting tool on a long-term basis is not permitted under our constitution based on our understanding of it. Furthermore, the states of emergency, which were used extensively from 2017 through to 2020, have not worked. The crime rate, especially the murder rate, remained very high. There were no long-term sustained benefits from the state of emergency because after the government brought them to an end so it could call an election, the murder rate continued and there's been no discernible improvement in the crime situation from the state of emergency. And the level of prosecutions arising from serious offences during the state of emergency, there were very few prosecutions brought from in respect of persons who were detained. In fact, the vast majority of the thousands of young men, in particular, who were detained without charge, have never been charged. And some of them took the government to court for after having been detained for many, many months without charge and won their case. And the government is appealing that case, which is why I am saying that the use of the state of emergency in this way is constitutionally dubious. So that is my answer. The answer is twofold. First of all, I don't think it's an effective way of dealing with a crime problem. In fact, I would say that it worsens the crime problem on a long-term basis because it's a false cure in the sense that it doesn't really bring any sustained benefits in terms of crime reduction. And secondly, the constitutionality of it is suspect. And as a parliamentarian, we all swear an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica. So I felt duty-bound to take that position.
Would you say that the PNP has spoken with one voice on this issue, or were there some dissenters?
Well, behind the scenes, we had discussions and there are contending views. I don't think any of us really believe the state of emergency is a solution. Some are more concerned about the impact of taking a strong position, that is the position we took. But I think the vast majority, felt that we should do this because it was the right thing to do and because the state of emergency have been a failing policy by a government that has failed in a critical area of crime fighting and law enforcement.
Do you were you concerned at all, Mark, that a vote as was delivered against the extension of the SOEs may negatively affect the PNP and have political consequences, especially in light of the fact that an election, albeit local government, is just around the corner? Was that a consideration at all?
Well, we are in the world of politics, so obviously we consider the political ramifications of any decision we take. But at the end of the day, Richie, standing on principle has always been the wise policy. I have found in my life that whenever we depart from principle, we come into problems. I believe we've taken a principled position to uphold the rights of the Jamaican people, especially the people from the less advantaged sectors of society, who are the ones who would be scraped up typically and detained without charge for lengthy periods of time. And we feel that doing the right thing is something that the country will appreciate, and we do not anticipate suffering for that.
Would you say this vote was for party or for country?
For country.
For country.
For country, for upholding the constitution of the country and for ensuring that a failed policy is not maintained and that new approaches are designed quickly and implemented. And I see yesterday the Prime Minister is suddenly full of new ideas, about all this legislation which we've been waiting on that is suddenly going to come now, and talking about things like death penalty for firearm possession and constitutional reform. So it's definitely spurred him into action. So that alone has been a benefit.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the conference yesterday. Incidentally, your name came up for mention, or your position a few times. I don't know if you might have heard, for instance, Anne-Marie Vaz in a speech said, through the years, when the going gets tough, the PNP takes to social distancing from the people. Do you want to put a response to that?
Not really. I don't know what she means by that. But I wasn't listening to Anne-Marie Vaz yesterday because we had NEC. We had our National Executive Council meeting, so I was fully occupied with that.
Yes.
But no, I don't know what she's referring to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get to what you did yesterday, but please allow me. There was a bit of humor when Bobby Montague at the podium made a reference to you, it seems, and he says that you're a nice man and that he wants you to remain there so that Andrew can get 2 election victories out of you.
Minister Scandal, as I now call him, can say what he likes. But the truth is that his credibility is totally shot. And we're doing our thing. We're reuniting our party, and I'm on the ground. And we expect to do well in the upcoming local government elections and to take back Jamaica House thereafter.
Okay. Hear you loud and clear, Mark. I have to ask you this morning, what are the People's National Party's crime-fighting suggestions that you want the government to hear you and understand you on?
Well, there's a short-term and a medium-term approach to this. The critical thing in the medium term is to achieve a sustainable approach to reducing crime, and that means a balance between crime prevention and law enforcement. What we do not have now is a balance. So there's all this emphasis on draconian forms of policing, unconstitutional detentions, and so on. We're not in favor of that approach. What we think is that it should be used is the tools that exist and which are lawful should be used to apprehend, prosecute, and hold accountable criminals. That includes the powers of curfew if necessary, cordon and search. It also includes the ZOZO legislation, and which has hardly been used, and which provides a useful short-term tool for grappling with a situation which is flared up in a community. The police can be supported by the JDF under the law as it stands, and we're very much in favor of that being done where necessary to bring an area under control. On the other hand, in terms of crime prevention, we need to look at things like how we deal with unattached youth, having a national program for dealing with those youngsters who are vulnerable to going into a life of crime, who the school system has failed, and who are facing dismal prospects. We need to give them a second chance by investing in them through retraining, life skills coaching, mentoring, and vocational skills training, and providing them with opportunities. We also need to look at early childhood development and the primary school system, where so many of our children end up in the secondary school system still functionally illiterate and cannot add and subtract. We need to invest in primary education and early childhood development to get the children off to the best possible start, because I'm a firm believer that if we do that, secondary school will be transformed in terms of the outcomes, and we won't have such a large number of our children leaving secondary school with no subjects and nothing to show for it. So these are the things that we need to do. And also, in the communities where there's typically high levels of violent crime, we need to upgrade those communities. We need to invest in them. The housing stock needs to be improved. The infrastructure, sewage disposal, garbage disposal, street lighting, these need to be made winner cities out of the inner cities so that people can live in dignity. And this, I think, will affect the mindset of the residents and make them more proud of their environment and build self-esteem and a more civic approach to life. This is important because it's to deal with the crime and violence problem in this country. It's not just law enforcement. It's also cultural, sociocultural, socioeconomic, and cultural phenomena that we have to grapple with.
If the nation could see some degree of consensus between the government and the opposition, I think that would send a very good signal, and it would be a good look overall. Would you say that your party and the governing party are miles apart in terms of approaches for crime fighting? And is there any possible dialogue that's being planned?
Dialogue is possible. I've called for the resumption of the Vale Royal talks. I call that those are behind closed doors, open discussions between the two parties. I have, in the last budget presentation that I made in February, I called for it. I've called for it again in the debate on the extension of the state of emergency, because I believe we need to find common ground. There's been some attempt at this with what's called CMOC, the Crime Monitoring Oversight Committee. Mm-hmm. But I think it's at a political level it needs to happen. So, for example, the government knew well our position on the state of emergency being used in this way, yet they went ahead and called it without any consultation. And, I think it was a deliberate political ploy because they think it would be popular to berate us when we don't support it. It's a cynical approach to this whole matter, and it doesn't take the country forward. If they want a genuine approach of dialogue and bipartisanship, we are ready and open to participate in that.
You've been seen popping up in several constituencies recently across the island. How is the party's preparation coming along for the upcoming local government elections?
Yeah, we're doing what we need to do, and I'm, looking forward to it. I see the Prime Minister now hedging and humming and suggesting he's not going to call it. It's not an appropriate time for the local government elections, although they were due from a year ago, and were postponed for 1 year to February this coming year, 2022. So, he apparently has concerns about his own fortunes, though he's trying to suggest otherwise. But we're doing what we have to do. We're getting our organization up and ready. Our candidates are being prepared, and I'm doing my thing on the ground so the people of Jamaica get to know me.
Are you less concerned this morning about the timing of the election, and are you still calling for an MOU for the elections not to be called this year?
I don't know where this MOU thing has come up from, but, the truth of the matter is, we respect the issue of COVID. Things seem to be improving in that area, but we've heard about the Omicron variant and so on. So we have to watch that, but if that doesn't turn out to be as problematic as people are fearing, given the current trajectory with COVID, where we're seeing the positivity rate falling, we're seeing hospitalizations falling and so on, it should be possible for us to conduct an election on the scheduled date if necessary.
Are you saying that you never called for an MOU on that matter?
Well, I don't recall this, to be really honest. I don't recall that particular comment.
Okay.
I think that we were anxious to have an understanding about what would happen with the state of with the calling of the local government elections, because we were getting mixed signals, and we knew that it was due. The rescheduled date was February 2022, so we wanted some clarity on that.
Okay.
But we've never shirked, or we're not fearful of going into an election if it's due. I mean, what happened in 2020 with the general election was that it was called a year early, right in the middle of a spike. Mm-hmm. And that was a disastrous decision for Jamaica, which Jamaica has paid very dearly for. Yes. So we understand that if that is the situation presently facing the country, it has to be a consideration. But the truth is that the thing is improving. The COVID situation is improving.
All right. Mark, we're gone past time, but I want to ask you one more. I noticed that you have appointed persons like Lisa, Hannah, Mikhail Phillips, and others to various executive positions. What is the reasoning behind that, and what is the state of unity in the party at this time?
Well, we have been working hard over the past year to settle the party down, to refocus on what we're about and where we're heading, and we're seeing positive results from that. And I was very happy yesterday at our NEC to announce Natalie Nita Garvey, who was Lisa's campaign manager, has joined the Officer Corps, and will be given a special assignment, which I have discussed with her. Very happy to have her on board. Very happy to have Lisa joining the executive committee of the parliament of the party, and Mikhail Phillips as well, coming back on board there. He's co-chairing our local government campaign. So all in all, I think the trend is obvious. We're getting our act together. We're moving forward with a common purpose, and we're looking forward to doing very well the next time we face the electorate.
Mark Golding, thank you as always for talking with us, and I wish you a great day today.
Thank you, it should be you too.
Thank you much. One love. All right, that's a chat with the president of the People's National Party, Mr. Mark Golding, right here on Up and Go. It brings our time now to 18 and a half minutes on the downside of 8 o'clock. It's now time for the Secret Sound Game. And we've got $99 US and 2 times $99 Jamaican as the jackpot has climbed to that. We want to get a winner today. Give us a call, 876-676-4996. Let's go. Let's allow you to hear the sound first of all, and then we'll start taking our calls. Here it is. What sound is that? Give us a call right now and let us know. You have the correct answer. We will definitely put you in the winner's enclosure. Good morning and welcome, caller. How are you doing today?
Hi, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How was your weekend?
It was pretty productive. How was yours?
Mine was good too. Thank you for asking. What's your name?
Kimberly.
Kimberly, going after the big money, $99 US and 2 times $99 Jamaican. Kim, you've tried a few times. You've never won, have you?
I haven't.
You haven't yet?
Not yet.
All right, watch me pray. Lord, I pray that Kimberly comes through as a winner today. Amen. All right. So I just prayed for you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now then, what is your answer to the Secret Sound game? What sound is it?
An ostrich?
An ostrich?
Yes.
I have to look across the glass. They're giving me a signal, Kimberly.
No.
They're giving me a signal. Hey, Kim.
Huh?
Did you say an ostrich?
Yes, I said an ostrich.
That is wrong, Kim. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Take care. Have a good day. Oh, boy. No, it's not an ostrich at all. 876-676-4996. I wonder if we're going to run as long as we did with the previous game before we get a winner in this particular one. Let's hear the sound once again. One more time. What sound is that? Call me right now and tell me. Good morning, you're on the air. Welcome to Up and Go. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Good.
Okay, give me your answer. Let me see if you're a winner today.
Yeah, man. It sounds like a wolf.
A wolf?
Yeah.
He says a wolf.
Yeah.
That ain't no wolf at all. That ain't no wolf. That ain't no wolf. Sorry. And our 2 callers have gone so quickly, but no winner. Members of my team seem quite surprised. Did he really say wolf? That ain't no wolf. Give me the sound once again. What sound is this? That is the sound that you must identify if you want to win. Tomorrow morning we'll have $99 US and 3 times $99 Jamaican for you to win in the Secret Sound game. Did you guys see where the Prime Minister was kind of making the point that he was watching a portion of the conference whilst at home before he got to the indoor sports arena, and he says he thinks it was doing well. It looked beautiful. And he was commending all of those involved in the production, so to speak. But he says persons looked a little stiff. And so he decided to take the bull by the horn, and he kind of burst out into song at the podium. Now, since the Prime Minister did that, there are some persons, and he's going to find this funny. I understand he's listening right now. There are some people who are saying, well, they're not giving him high marks for his vocal abilities. Let's put it that way. They're saying it was a good attempt. Persons actually said to me it was an excellent attempt, but they're giving the impression that they don't think the Prime Minister scored very high marks for his ability to sing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have been telling you that we'll be talking with a very special guest at this time. She is a former PNP member and councillor for the Papine Division. And she'll be sharing her thoughts with us this morning in relation to the SOEs. I saw where she had shared a tweet on Saturday, seemingly offering, shall we say, free advice to the governing party, where she said, quote, The minute they blocked the SOEs, you simply moved to curfew orders with the necessary tailoring that would give you certain flexibility within the very spaces the SOEs would have applied. You don't need their vote or permission for that. Let them come out against that too. End quote. Well, that and other things will be discussed with Venetia Phillips, my guest at this time. Good morning, Miss Phillips.
Good morning, Richie. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, the obvious question that I want to start with is, were you blatantly offering advice to the governing Jamaica Labour Party in that tweet that I referenced a while ago?
Not the Jamaica Labour Party, the government, purely on the basis that I am continually incensed by the fact that we continue to play politics with crime. That's not one for political coloring, and both parties are actually guilty of that.
Oh. So, Venetia, what are your thoughts on the effectiveness of the SOEs?
Personally, Richie, and I've been consistent in saying that I do not believe it is in and of itself a solution. In any event, what we have reduced it to is the routine police operational strategy, which cannot be, and that's not how it was designed, because it is in fact losing its relevance. I hear the Prime Minister and the Commissioner of Police on the numbers, and I won't challenge the numbers, but I'll put it this way to you, Richie. 50% of 2 is what?
50% of 2-1.
Exactly. So I always say, don't wait until it's convenient to you to give us the total, the statistics by virtue of numbers. When you're talking to the taximan on the street or the person in Augustone, say to them, last year we had 5 murders. Since the imposition, I'm going to use Zozo, for example, of the Zozo, we have 3. We attribute this to this, this, and this. Now, Richard, why do I say that?
Tell me.
Because with the SOE, when you have these checkpoints and stuff, which is pretty much how it is being operationalized, you don't have the follow-up that is necessary. So, of course, in the immediacy, you might have, a migration of the players out of an area once there is dominance in terms of security forces presence in the immediate and until they study. And if you're following the Klansman case, you will hear the guys themselves, and I've said it years now, that they monitor the media, traditional and social media. That is how they are able to elude the system. And so the fact is, of course, they're going to stand down until they understand the machinations of how the SOE is operating within their area so that they can continue to perpetuate their criminal behavior. And I say that is the basis on which it cannot be in and of itself the go-to strategy every time we see a spike, which is what we have been doing, and then justifying it that, we had a 70% reduction in Montego Bay. Talk to us about the numbers in Montego Bay. Talk to us about the link crimes that happen, and I'm going to explain that, and I want you to allow me.
Yes, I will.
And I'm going to use May Lane in Augustone under the Zozo again.
Okay.
There was a guy that was killed in Papine, close to EOJ. Now, that murder was not attributed to Augustone, though it was directly linked. The killers were from Augustone, and the victim was from Augustone. But the space to which it was attached was based on geography, which is how police collect their data. Yes. Now, that, Richie, is flawed, because then when you're reporting on the Zozo figures in Augustone, what you are going to say is that you are going to minus that murder, because that is assigned to Papine police station area, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
No, when we're doing that, it's a falsehood that we're perpetuating, which is what I'm saying to the government and the Commissioner of Police. That, listen to me, when you have criminal migration as a direct result of your putting in immediate checkpoints and increased boots on the ground, you also have to follow the crime. If we're not doing that, when we're living in a fool's paradise, and we will never be able to solve it, because what we're doing, Richie, is that we're creating our own falsehood and then we're believing it, which is how I see us dealing with the SOEs. But I believe the opposition saw an opportunity for politics, which was unfortunate, and they took it, because crime is not one for the politics, right? Because what they should have done is, you have your order paper or whatever they call it in the Senate and in both houses. Say to the Prime Minister, and this is one for Mr. Golden, we need to talk about this. I see you're coming again with SOE. But let's discuss it. The discussion, Richie, should end with the conditions that would be attached. Like, since there is the argument being proffered by the PNP that there is the concern about human rights violations, those have been happening and not to be condoned from time immemorial. So we cannot use it conveniently. But in this particular case, what I expected the opposition to say is, where there is detention under the SOE in these areas that we consider to be hotspots now, in terms of the numbers, you have to ensure or guarantee us that you are going to have a turnover time of the processing of those detained within X, Y, or Z, even though the numbers may be high, so that the people who are innocent and need to be at work so they don't lose their jobs are not at risk because they are just lumped with potential criminal elements and criminal elements. And then, of course, they lose their livelihoods because our duty is to protect the law-abiding citizens of this country first.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, that is not the discussion that we hear coming out of the houses of Parliament, Richie. And that is what incensed me. So I said in my tweet, the minute you recognize, because you had to have basically anticipated that you may or may not get through with the passing of the extension. So you should have had a plan B. And if it is that the police information to the Prime Minister is true, and if it is that you need these spaces contained in the immediacy, then certainly what we should have heard coming out of the Prime Minister almost immediately was that a curfew will be in place above and beyond what is there for COVID. In these particular spaces of a particular design, and you tell the public what is the reason, because you are saying to us that your reason for the SOE is to have sufficient containment so that some other things can happen. So if that were true, then what we should have seen is the shift straight away that did not require the opposition to the curfew. So with the kind of specification that would allow them to achieve certain ends that the SOE would have given them until they're able to deal with this mess that they have in the houses regarding the SOE. So that's where I was going with that.
I understand what you're saying. So you're feeling that the governing party, instead of seemingly throwing up their hands in the air because they didn't get the supportive vote from the opposition, you're saying that there are alternatives that could be used to effectively continue with these crime prevention measures.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that the vote by the PNP is something that is it a political gamble that they took, and do you think it might come back to harm them in light of the fact that an election is just around the corner, albeit local government elections?
You know, Richie, as an active member of the PNP, when I sat on the NEC, I used to be at pains to say to my party, if we continue to listen to our own voices, we're really hearing echoes. And the truth be told, when we do that, then we delude ourselves. Because if anyone in the PNP believes that they scored any point by doing what they did there, then they are living in a fool's paradise. I'll tell you why, Richie. If you live in the areas covered by SOE and ZOZOs, you have a different view. Yes, of course, there are family members and support system of some persons who will say, oh, we don't want a police and think, boy, yeah, because this is happening. Or you can even justify it by saying that people are dying even within close proximity to some of these checkpoints. But there are some other things happening simultaneously on the ground. Where there's imbalance or inequality or even excesses, those can be dealt with as a matter of course. But you cannot just openly take, like, we're not going with this because it's a breach of human rights or government have no plan. Because that then is politics and not in the interest of the people you are hoping to take charge of this country to be able to manage their lives and their safety. And the PNP have to realize that we have to be careful. There's a very thin line, between appearing to support disorder, right, and standing up for human rights. And we have to accept that. And so the PNP cannot be posturing as though they intend to preside over the disorder should they take the reins of government. So from that point, Richie, I believe that it was an error in judgment on their part. They should have led the discussion so that the people of Jamaica can see that, oh, this is not politics PNP playing, but here are the reasons. Dr. Phillips did it when he was leader. He made the point and said there has to be more than just asking us for an extension of the date.
And that discussion ensued, and we were clear as to the thought process, and then there was support, and the government acquiesced back then. And what you saw was a difference in the result. What you are seeing now is a lineup along political lines, and the only grass that gets trampled here are the people of Jamaica.
I had Mark Golding on as my guest at 8 o'clock this morning, and one of the things that we spoke about was the fact that he seems to be making efforts at unity within the party through the appointment of Natalie, Lisa, and Mikhail Phillips recently. Do you think that's a positive development within the People's National Party?
I'm going to go with my grandmother's saying, I suppose it is better late than never. But what he faces now is skepticism. And why do I say that? Because if it was genuine to begin with, and I suppose you can always give him the benefit of the doubt and say only hindsight has 20/20 vision. But if it was that he was listening and he was genuine to start with, then when the minute he won, the actions he is taking now, he would have taken then, because that would have been the sensible thing to do. But my understanding of the lay of that land is that the slip saddle is not going to work. What do I call the slip saddle? Remember that it is not just about Miss Hannah's or Comrade Hannah's candidacy against Mark Golding. If you are going to deal with it honestly, then there's a much larger group beyond the Lisa Hannah support that was with a Peter Phillips that is not being sufficiently engaged, as to my certain knowledge, and even though I am sitting where I'm sitting. And there are some undercurrents that is not helpful. And Richie, I have no interest in seeing the PNP deteriorate any further. And so that is why I said to you, let's start with better late than never, to the extent that that will bring some, and definitely not most, to the table.
Yes.
I suppose any effort is good effort and should be encouraged.
Okay.
But I believe that there's so much to be done in terms of mending fences there that Mr. Golding is nowhere near close to dealing with it in order to be able to get to a formidable position to put something to Jamaica in short order.
And with an election just around the corner, you think that might be telling in terms of the possible results?
I think that will be up to him in terms of the pace at which he travels on this and the genuine nature, because remember, you're dealing with human beings.
Right.
And remember, where there's heavy skepticism, that will also cost you time. Because where trust is broken in a retreat, it is not that easy to think. If people are going to coalesce around a purpose that does not have anything to do with trust, but just the purpose, which is dangerous for the movement, as you know, then it's a different thing. Because if the object is just to let's hold hands and just run to the election and then try to fix our problems later, then that's a different strategy. Yeah. But if it is, which I believe should be the case, that there's a genuine attempt at restoring the PNP, which I believe Mark Golding owes the PNP that. If it is that there's a genuine attempt to restore, then it might not be enough time to display any kind of strength at the polls, should we have one anytime soon.
All right. I really have to ask this question because I saw your tweets and I saw a number of reactions to it, and you also came back on the weekend and responded to one or two of those.
Right.
Did you notice Anne-Marie Vaz's offer or invitation where she said to you, "Come on over, Venetia"? And if you did, what is your reaction to that invitation?
My friends are always going to be saying, "Come on over." But I think they know that for me, it is not just the name PNP. It is an ideological grounding in which I believe, not something I inherited, but something I bought into as an adult, even though, I practiced as a youngster by way of tradition. I bought into the principles of democratic socialism. And if I'm to be honest with you, some of that abounds within the JLP, but the overall principles and grounding of the PNP is really where it's at for me. So as much as the invitations continue to come, the love is there, the love will always be there. Because, Richie, I can tell you this, I enjoy excellent, and I'm going to use this word, camaraderie with my friends in the JLP.
but they know that I'm a comrade at heart, and that is not going to change.
I hear you loud and clear. Just to tell you that I'm getting several responses on my phone to our chat here. I'll read two of them before you disappear. This one says, I belong to no political party, but Miss Phillips is making a mountain of sense right here. And another one, it says, me like Miss Phillips' reasoning bad, balanced and impartial. Love her bad. On that note, Venetia, I thank you once again, and I wish you a wonderful day. Take good care.
And to you and your listeners, have a great day.
Much appreciated. A chat there. I called her once on air firebrand counselor. That is Venetia Phillips for you, former PNP member and counselor for the Pepin Division, our guest at this time. It's 18 minutes now past the hour of 9 o'clock. I know that we want to get some music, but there is a breaking story that we're monitoring. We broke it to you earlier this morning that JUTC bus drivers were on strike when DAPA shared that information from as early as 20 minutes into the program in our traffic segment. And now it is a big story being covered by many media outlets. We have a comment coming from the Public Relations Department at the JUTC, which we would love for you to hear at this time. Mr. Toms is actually the person who has given this particular perspective. Let's hear it.
Can confirm that our drivers across all our depots have taken industrial action. This stemming from an incident over the weekend in which a driver was arrested. A video of the incident has been circulating on social media, and our drivers are pretty much upset over the manner in which the police treated their colleague. They say it could have been handled differently. If you watch the video, you will notice that the police hauled the driver, away from the steering wheel. The managing director and senior management are currently visiting depots across our operations with a view to having drivers return to work. We believe that will be done in short order. And of course, we'll be meeting with the unions and the police high command to discuss this matter, and of course, clearly not to have a repeat of same.
All right, that's Cecil Toms there from the JUTC's PR department giving an update, and we thank you for that, the official word from the JUTC. By the way, today is a very important day in the world of football, as the Ballon d'Or trophy will be determined.
I had to jump in here because I know you're going to talk about your team right now.
No, we're just going to talk about the three leading players this time around. So I caught you here with this one.
Oh, all right, fine.
Now, the Ballon d'Or is a big trophy that has been won several times by a number of persons, like Ronaldo, for instance, and Lionel Messi, using another example. It is felt by many that the three leading contenders this year, I could be wrong, but many people I'm seeing posting up that Messi, in fact, I'm seeing people saying that Messi already won it. It's just a matter of a formality, and that he has already been notified. I don't know how true that is, but Messi, Lewandowski, and Salah are like the three names that I see being put forward a lot by many people who are suggesting them that they should win. One person says trophies with both club and country, impressive stats, an all-time Copa America campaign with most goals, most assists, MVP. The only right answer, according to this individual, is Messi. Who do you think is gonna win it? Is it Lewandowski? Is it Salah? Is it Messi? It's a big day, and the announcement should come very, very soon. Scoring and getting MVP versus Bolivia and Ecuador is considered Ballon d'Or material now. Now, that's a question. Third in La Liga. And they're putting forward their own preferences. I'm a Leo Messi fan, but in a fair note, Robert Lewandowski should win. I feel Lewandowski had a better year than Messi. He actually scored more goals. Lewandowski scored 64 goals. Messi scored 48. Lewandowski played 57 matches. Messi 63. But Messi has been beating Lewandowski in many of the other areas, like assists. He had 18 to Lewandowski's 10. Shots on target by Messi 150. Lewandowski 111. My research indicates that in terms of big chances that were missed, Messi had 14, Lewandowski had 39. As it relates to accurate passes, Lewandowski had 910, while Messi had 3,323. For dribbles completed, Messi had 290, while Lewandowski had only 59. And even Benzema had 70, for instance. Chances created, Messi created 160 chances, Lewandowski 68, Benzema 98. So Benzema's name is also in there in the running. Not too sure. People are saying that Messi has already been declared the winner, but I don't have that from a confirmed source. It will be interesting when the announcement comes later on today, though. For those football fanatics, you might want to tell us who you think is going to win and why. You can send us a WhatsApp message, 876-551-5782. Or you can call us on 876-676-4996.
Richie B, the party master, on Up and Go, The Bridge, 99 FM.